we are back and we're just doing a quick little inclusions video. For today's, I'm just gonna do a chocolate chip and I'm gonna do a jalapeno Gouda. You can also do cinnamon raisin, but nobody I know will eat that one, so we're just doing those. So everything's already been done, like all the sourdough's mixed up. There's a video on how to do all that stuff. So we're just at the point where we're gonna do our first fold. And the first fold is just a normal fold. We're not adding anything yet. So I've got 6 loaves on the go. I'll just show you one of them for a first fold. And I only did white flour this time. I usually do some whole wheat, so it's pretty sticky. So I'm just gonna kind of loosen it up, spread it out, and just fold everything into the middle. And that's it. So first fold done, and we're just gonna roll that in a little bit of flour, set that back in its bowl and let it sit for half an hour and we'll come back for the second fold. So I'm gonna get started on the second fold here. I cut up a jalapeno. Actually, I cut up multiple jalapenos. I just did them diced and then I did one jalapeno just in like little rounds for the top. And then for chocolate chips, I am just using dark chocolate, 50% cacao, and they're just a selection brand. So let's get started. Like I said, this is fold number 2. So I'll show you first the chocolate chip ones just because I don't want to get jalapeno-y hands for this. So I'm just going to take, I don't have a measurement, I'm sorry, maybe half a cup. I could do a measurement for the next one if you want, but like I just kind of do, well, sometimes I do more chocolate chips, sometimes I do less. It kind of depends. Sometimes people don't like it with as many and sometimes people like it with more. So we're going to throw on those chocolate chips like that. I'm just kind of pushing them in a little, and then you're just gonna fold as normal. So put everything towards the middle and tuck them away. You can do it on your last fold. I like doing it on my second last fold so that you have another fold to kind of get it moved around a bit more so it's not all clumped in one spot. So I just rolled it and I'm gonna throw it in its home. One more chocolate chip here. I guess I could get out a measurement to make it easier in case people wanna know. Let's see what the half cup looks like. So that wasn't completely a half cup because it was missing a little bit on the top. That'd probably make up for the top that was missing. So it's around half cup. I'm gonna leave it there. And then sometimes I also like to do some chocolate chunks where I cut them up myself in there. And sometimes I like to do a mixture of milk chocolate and dark chocolate. You do whatever you like the best. So we got it all wrapped up. I'm gonna throw them in his hole. And I'm gonna do 2 that are just plain to the Jane. I just want to do that before I get started on the jalapeno, because that jalapeno sometimes it gets your hands good. One time my sister was working at a restaurant and she was cutting up jalapenos. I think a lot of jalapenos, and man alive did she ever hurt her poor little hands. And I think she might have rubbed her eyes. It was a whole night of her sleeping in a chair with her hands, I think in Pepto-Bismol. I don't remember. This is when I was a kid and I slept on the living room floor near her. I was so worried about her jalapeno hands and her jalapeno eyes. It looked so painful. Ever since then, I've learned my lesson about jalapenos. Sometimes even when I'm cutting a jalapeno, my hands get sore. So I can't even imagine. Okay, this one's gonna be the jalapeno Gouda. My friend Adriana, Disney princess, she did hers with jalapeno and smoked cheddar, which sounds so good. I don't have access to the smoked cheddar, so we're doing my favorite cheese, which is Gouda. So we have our little cuts there. Cuts, we could call it diced, I don't know. And we're gonna throw on our grated Gouda cheese. And I just do it at the normal grating setting. I don't know words. I'd say that was probably about a half cup. It might look a little weird when I'm putting it down because the cheese is frozen. You don't need frozen cheese to do this. It's just that, like, I always have grated up Gouda that's frozen because it's just so much easier than having to grate it at the time. When you got time, I do little things like that. Fold her up, buttercup, and we're just gonna do a little roll. Throwing the diced jalapenos on again. My favorite bread is like my friend Joe's favorite bread, just the classic. It's just so much more versatile. Like when you're doing this, sometimes I'll make it with like, well, I don't even eat sandwiches. That was gonna be a lie. But I feel like you could use it for a sandwich. I usually just eat it plain Jane. Or like, I don't know. There's just not much you could do with a jalapeno Gouda. I'm sure there is, but I just don't do fun stuff. And then a chocolate chip, I feel like it's the same thing. You throw on butter. Maybe you could do honey. I don't know. But with plain bread, you have so many options. And I feel like I have a problem with cheese. I can never have too much cheese, but we're gonna take it easy on the cheese. It sounds so silly when I'm wrapping it up because it's frozen. Roll her and throw her in. And then we're gonna let it sit there for another half an hour. We're back for our last fold, and these little chiquitas that I cut up, I meant to cut for tomorrow, I just realized, because they're gonna go on the top. These little rounds, I tried to do them thin. So I'll just put it in a container and then we'll do that part tomorrow. I'll show you my last fold. We're gonna try to do this in the same order. Well, either do the plain or the chocolate chip first, so we just don't have jalapeno fingers. We just fold it to the middle, try to get those chocolate chips worked in a little bit more. And then we have one more fold in the morning, so there will be that too to help out. We're losing them. My goodness gracious. Lost some in the bowl too. So there's a lot in that one area. Like it's moved around and worked in. Just roll her around in some flour. Boop. Here we are for the jalapeno ones. Lost a little jalapeno in there. Gouda. Just trying to pull it a little bit too to get to move around. And if that happens, totally okay. You're good. Just roll it in the flour and throw it back in there. Get our last guy in here. She feels heavy with the add-ins. Pew, 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 pew. I'll get that side too. Oh, I can smell that jalapeno sneaking out of there. Okay, so I guess I'll see you in the morning for the last fold, and then I'll show you how I put them in their little bread pans, because I do extra cheese on the top, and I'll probably do a chocolate chip or two, just so you know that that's a chocolate chip bread, in case you didn't know. See you tomorrow. Good morning, we're back, and it's, why do I look too late? So hard to tell time on is it called an analog clock? 7, 8, 9, 10. Wow. It's 10 o'clock. I checked the bread this morning at like, what time was I up? Today is really hard. Like 5:45, I checked the bread when I woke up, and the bread hadn't really doubled in size. It was pretty small. It's really cold in the house today, so I left it until I came back from the gym. So now it's 10 o'clock. It looks bigger, looks good. I'll show you what I do for the next step for the last fold, and then I guess I will cook it and I'll show it to you tomorrow morning after I cut it. It's gonna be so good. Although it's supposed to be a huge snowstorm and I'm gonna go give everybody their breads tomorrow, I'm gonna be stuck with 6 breads and nobody to give them to. Tomorrow's problem. The weather's never really right, it seems. So I have my jalapenos in the container ready to go. I got my cheese ready to go, and then I don't need anything chocolate chip wise. I'm gonna start with the plain breads so my hands don't get, I don't know, whatever. You know what I mean. Jalapeno and whatnot. Just do a fold. Nice bubble. Look at that bubble. Bubble trouble. Or is it double trouble? Yeah, there's nothing about a bubble. That's fine. Get it all soaked up in that flour. Don't want anything sticking. Now let's get down to the good kinds. Not that plain's not a good kind. It's the best kind. IMO and JMO, in my opinion, and in Joe's opinion. So we got our chocolate chip friend. Spread the love throughout the dough. And I'm gonna flour this guy some. It's funny because I don't really ever do all white flour. I usually do a mixture of some whole wheat in there. My starter has the dark rye, but that's not a lot. So it's just like such a different texture, I guess. We're gonna roll that in the flour. What a beaut. Make sure you have all those turned edges towards the ceiling. Set that aside. 2 more to go. I can smell those jalapenos right away. Okay, so for this part, a little bit different. We're gonna take this guy out. Hello. She's sticky. Gotta keep that cheese in there and stuff, so I'm gonna stretch it out a little bit. I want everything to be moved around. And then fold it towards the middle. If anything falls out, just stick it back in there. And it's kind of hard because now the top has flour on it just to get stuff to stick. But this is all the folded edges towards the ceiling, which one we're gonna put it in its little home, aka bread basket. We want the folded edges to be at the top facing the ceiling. So I'm turning it the wrong way for a sec here. And then, like I said, it's kind of tricky now because there's so much flour on the top. And I guess you could do this in the morning before you put it in the oven, but I struggle with remembering anything ever. So I like to do it ahead of time. And then it does get weird in the morning too, because I feel like the cheese gets stuck all up in here. So if you can remember stuff, you could try it the other way. And then I always do the top, and it's probably not helping too because my cheese is frozen. We're just gonna pat her on top. Let's try the next one with not flouring. So this is the top of the bread when you're gonna cook it. Now we're just gonna turn it back upside down. Yeah, the cheese is not sticking at all. And put it in its home so everything's facing the ceiling. And then tomorrow morning I might have to just put some cheese on top because that didn't work out that well. I've never had it that bad. Let it stretch out a little. Fold. You would never even know there's cheese in this guy. Where did it all go? I'm gonna add some more. Love cheese. My favorite's Gouda. We're gonna fold it towards the middle. So it's way stickier, obviously, because there's no flour yet. Now I'm just gonna turn it the wrong way, set it on top of the flour so it doesn't get too stuck. Everything's gonna stick so much better now. That's my hot tip. I haven't made a jalapeno Gouda in a bit, but I don't remember it being that hard to get anything to stick to it, so maybe I just overfloured it today. Pat her on. I don't know if patting's the right method, but that's what we do here. Well, I think that's as good as it's getting. Flour the top, because we do not want it all sticking in there. That didn't stick that well. Curious to see tomorrow when they come out. I was gonna say the difference between the two. I don't even have a bread to try to do this in the morning to see if it works better. So that everything that should be on the top is on the bottom. If you watched before or you've done this before, you know the drill of what's next. We're just gonna take this guy, well, all of them, and we're gonna put them each in a bag, and then we're gonna put it in the fridge for the whole entire day and the whole entire night, and then we'll cook it tomorrow morning or whenever I get around to it. I would love to try the smoked cheese with the jalapeno. That was really good. My friend did bring me a piece to try, and it was very good. Her flowers were also gasted just about how like we hand them out, because now she realizes how much work it is. It's like 4 days of love. And some of the people I've given bread to would be like, oh, I forgot it overnight at work. I'm so silly. I'm like, no, you're off my list now. No more bread for you. It's like 4 days of work and a lot of love. She knows. She knows the process. It's a lot of process. It's so worth it because the bread's just so delicious. I'll see you tomorrow morning. I'll show you what the bread looks like once it's cooked. Oh, good morning. We are at, oh my gosh, what time is it? 8:55. Almost 9 o'clock? Brutal. Okay. I got 2 loaves in the oven. A real toasty here. The plain Jane one is all done here. I'm just putting on the cooling wrap. And we got our beautiful, delicious, yummy, smells so good jalapeno Gouda. Get on there, sucker. All right, so I'm just gonna use this parchment paper again because it's not falling apart too much yet. Jalapeno Gouda, try to get it right in the center here. So, oh wow, the cheese didn't actually stick all to the top. It didn't with that one either. I don't remember which one this is. Whatever, it doesn't matter. I actually stayed on, which I wasn't expecting it to. Usually, some of it does get stuck in here a little bit. So I am just gonna go over top. I think this is the one that was more floured because the other one that I did, this one here, it was pretty sticky on top. So when I put the cheese on top, it stuck really well. Where this one has quite a bit of flour. You don't have to add more cheese in the morning. If you're happy with your cheese amount, leave it and go. But I just really love cheese. And then you're just gonna pick it up and place it in your pot. And I am not any expert on sourdough by any means, as you can tell, because I never know what I'm saying or I don't follow the measurements exactly. But for my recipe, I'm gonna plop this in the oven for 20 minutes, take the lid off, and then do it for 25 minutes. And then once everything's cooled, I'll cut into it and we can check out what the middle looks like. I'm back and all the breads are cooked and cooled, so I'm gonna cut them so we can check them out. I'm gonna start with the plain ones just so I don't have to clean the blade between the plain and the next one. And I'll show you the jalapeno and the chocolate chip when I get there. So my one jalapeno bread turned out a lot bigger than not a lot, but noticeably bigger than the other one. And I'm guessing because there was a lot of air at the top. So cut like that for a good half the loaf. Show you what it looks like on the inside. Here's the crumb. Nice job. It's gonna be so yummy. We have a nice big snowstorm right now and everything's pretty much closed and I'm kind of trapped in the house for now, but as soon as, well, the wind has finally stopped, so I'm gonna go outside and I'm gonna shovel my way out of this driveway so I could deliver this bread because it's just best on the first day. Last night at 1:30 a.m. I got woken up because I heard people laughing outside. So I went and looked out the window and there's 2 trucks and a car stuck. They all seem to be together, so they eventually got their way to the driveway. Just finished cutting the chocolate chip one. Got to be a bit of a mess at the end, but yeah, it turned out good. No problems here. I know, it looks like I took a bite out of the end, but the end of this like cutter sometimes just rips off the last piece, so it ends up in another piece. But that's it. Thanks for watching. I'm gonna go clean up my mess.